What's good, y'all? Welcome to your week 1 at-home Kinstretch program. Today, we're gonna be focusing on the hips. So we're gonna move through 3 different base positions. We'll start with a little adduction work, so groin work. Then we'll be in 90-90, working on some internal rotation, external rotation, do some active work, and then we'll end with some more cars. So you'll do this routine today for weeks 1 and 2. The things that you'll need today are some blocks and a heavy band. It doesn't have to be this exact same one, but just some type of band. And yeah, then let's get right into it. So we're gonna start in quad position, do some spinal segmentation. So what I want you to do is start and end at your lower back. We're just gonna go through 3 each. So slowly inhale, moving up through the upper back. You want your head to come up last. Think like your hands and knees are squeezing close to each other. Then start back at your low back. Big exhale as you're moving into flexion. Doing your best to segment 1 vertebra at a time. We'll start back at our low back. So slowly move into extension. Good. Let the head come up last. Squeeze everything together. Let's start back at that low back. Slowly move into flexion to the best of your ability. Big exhale. Once you get to the end, push everything away. Let's go 1 more. Slowly moving. Max safest range of motion. Head comes up last. And then let's start once more at that low back. Pushing everything away. Big exhale when you get to the end. And relax. Okay, moving to some neck cars. So if this position's okay for you, feel free, but you can be standing, sitting, however is most comfortable for you. So we'll slowly start to draw the neck down. Draw the chin towards one shoulder. Once you hit a stopping point, drop the ear toward the back pocket. And then let's slowly move up toward extension, looking toward the sky, ear towards that other back pocket. Back down to the starting position. 1 more that way. Again, just moving through your max safest range of motion. You don't want any pain while we're moving through these cars, especially these first ones. These are most likely your first ones of the day, which is just fine. So we're just kind of feeling how we feel. Let's take it right back. So chin towards the other shoulder, drop the ear toward the back pocket. And remember, for all these, we're working to move 1 mile per hour through our whole range of motion. Make sure we're breathing. 1 more that way. Drop that ear. Slowly moving up toward extension. Ear towards that other back pocket. Back to that starting position. Okay, we're gonna do 2 thoracic cars now. So if you wanna give yourself a big hug, doesn't matter which hand is above or below, but do your best now to keep that low back nice and quiet. So we're flexing forward, rotating one way. Once we hit that stopping position, drop that shoulder blade now to the back pocket, keeping that chin right in line with your chest. Slowly coming back down. Once more that way. Rotate. Drop that shoulder blade. Slowly moving up toward extension, just at the upper back. So make sure the core is nice and tight so nothing's bleed into that low back here. Let's take it right back. Nice and smooth. Drop that shoulder blade. Slowly moving up toward extension. Good. Laterally flex, back down to that starting position. We'll go 1 more. Rotate. Drop that shoulder blade. We'll slowly come up, extend. Shoulder blade toward the other back pocket. Back down to that starting position. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna get into our hips now. So we're gonna do these cars side lying. So if you wanna grab one of your blocks, use that as a pillow. So here, you're gonna pull with the bottom hand, punch with the top. That's gonna keep your core nice and tight. Pretend like you have a lacrosse ball, squeeze behind that knee, and we're working on the top leg. So let's slowly start to drive that knee up, all the way back. Whole leg goes back. Once you hit the stopping point, let the knee drop. As we rotate, you can rest for 1 second, come right back up, start to drive that knee through, back towards your chest, set the foot down. We got 2 more here, up, back, rotate. Again, make sure your core staying nice and tight here so nothing's bleeding to that low back. You're not forcing your range of motion here. We're just moving through what feels good, especially on these first cars of the day. Once more, up, rotate, a little rest at the end, straight back up, rotate back through. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple hip axials here, 4 total. So what I want you to do is bring the knee up, whole leg back. You're gonna keep it there. If you need a little feedback, drive your fist, push your quad against the fist. Do your best to keep the knee here. We're gonna rotate the hip back just as much as you can, and then rotate forward. Okay, 3 more like that. Rotate back, forward. Again, really keeping that core nice and tight. 2 more. Rotate back, just feeling the hip. Your glutes should be a little fired up right now. 1 more each, straight back, straight forward. Relax on that side. Okay, we'll switch. So, okay, so again, bottom hand pulling, top hand punching. Squeeze that ball behind that top leg, and let's slowly come up. Whole leg goes back. Once you hit the stopping point, let the knee drop as we internally rotate that hip back. Let's come straight back up. Drive that knee back towards the chest. Rotate all the way back through. 2 more like that. Up, back. You really want to ensure that the movement's coming from the hip and not your lower leg. Good, straight back up. Slowly bring that all the way back through. Make sure we're breathing, especially on those hard parts. Try not to rush through them. Up, back. Right here, really breathe as you rotate. Straight back up. And let's rotate all the way back through. Okay, let's hit our 4 hip axials. So up, back. Give yourself a little feedback if you need to. Keep the core tight. Let's get a little internal rotation back and external rotation forward. 3 more here. Straight back. So you're really driving that quad against your hand, just to keep this hip on the axial. 2 more. Forward. Last one. And all the way forward. Perfect. Okay, warm-up car is complete. We're gonna move into our first base position, which is gonna be bear sit. So you have a couple options here. This is our bear sit position. If you have trouble sitting straight up, grab 1 or 2 blocks and you can sit up on them. This will make it a little bit easier to be comfortable, nice and upright. I'll stay here. Okay, the further up the knees are towards your midline, the harder it's gonna be. The further down, the easier. Ideally, we want 90 degrees where our shins and our knees meet, and we're gonna let the legs fall down. So we're looking for a nice stretch here in the groin area. Okay, so what we're gonna do, just give me a couple breaths, and we're gonna start with some anterior, posterior tilt. So anterior tilt of the pelvis, think extension of your lumbar. Posterior tilt, think flexion of your lumbar. Okay? So while we're doing these, note where you're feeling the biggest stretch, because that's where you're gonna lock your pelvis in as we do our pels and rails, or our isometric contractions. Okay? So we're gonna start first, nice and upright. So what I want you to do is gonna be very small. Tuck that pelvis. So think extension of your lumbar. So the belt buckle is pointing towards the ground. And then as you exhale, think about pointing your belt buckle up towards your chest. Okay, 2 more here, nice and small. Point that belt buckle down towards the ground, anterior tilt of the pelvis, and then straight up. Posterior tilt, so belt buckle towards the chest. 1 more each. Pelvis down, extension of the low back. And then let's bring it up, posterior tilt, and perfect. Okay, so remember where you felt the biggest stretch here, either pelvis tilted toward the ground, extension, or pelvis up. And you're gonna lock that in as we do our isometrics. So we have 2 sets of pels and rails today. The first set is gonna be about 50% of our max effort. We'll slowly ramp. Rails, the exact same, but it's gonna be much lighter than your pels contraction. So pels, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to rotate the legs up together, but your fists are not gonna let them. Rails, you're thinking like you're driving the knees out and down towards the ground at your max safest effort as we go through these. So just note, if you cramp, that means you did way too much. That's your max effort. Tone it down quite a bit, especially for these first couple weeks. We're just moving nice and light through all of our isometrics. Okay, so here we go. Let's do our first one. So let's take a big breath. Lock that air in your belly, and let's slowly start to rotate the knees up into the hands, very light. We'll call that 20% of your max effort. With the next breath, double how hard you're driving up into the fist, 40%. See if you can push a little bit harder. Hold that tension so your whole body's tight. The knees are driving up into the fist, your core is tight. Keep the tension, your heels are very heavy in the ground. We have 10 more seconds on this first one. Keep rotating. You should feel a nice contraction through the inner thighs, groin area. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, let's go right to our rails. So again, brace the core. Drive the heels down into the ground. And now we're thinking length. So out and down of the knees, trying to get them closer to the ground. Again, you should feel a nice contraction through your inner thighs. You might feel the glutes a little bit. If you do have trouble feeling this, take the outsides of your hands, try to pull your knees up, but don't let it. Sometimes that can help to give yourself a little feedback, but just keep that tension best we can. Keep driving out for 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, first one done. We're just gonna take a couple recovery breaths here. This next set, at least on pels, we're gonna try to ramp to about 60 to 70% of our max effort. So not quite as hard as you can, but close enough. Rails can be exactly the same, if not a little lighter. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a big breath in. Remember where you felt that bigger stretch. Lock the pelvis in, brace the core, and let's slowly start to rotate the knees up into the fist, nice and light. We'll call it 20%. Next breath, double that tension, 40. Keep pushing harder. We'll say 60%. See if you can push a little bit harder and hold that tension. We have 15 seconds here. So the heels are nice and heavy. You're driving those knees really hard into the fist for 10 seconds. Keep pushing. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, right to rails. 3, 2, 1. Drive those heels. Think lengthen out of the knees. So you're really trying to get those closer to the ground. Feel the contraction through the groins. Breathe. Keep the tension through the core so nothing's bleeding through the low back. Keep reaching. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly relax. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do one set of 5 eccentrics here on each side. So what this is gonna look like, if you wanna start, whichever leg you wanna start with, you're gonna bring it up. You're gonna fight this tension down. So you're gonna push down with the hand, but the whole time you're trying to fight the hand up, but you're gonna let the hand win, okay? So if you wanna take a big breath, give yourself a little tension with either the hand or the fist, drive the heel, and we're slowly rotating down all the way to the end range. You'll reset all the way up. Little tension through the fist. Fight that knee up, so you should feel a good contraction here through the groin, maybe the outside of the glute. Good, all the way up. 3 more. Give me that tension in that fist. You're really fighting that knee up. Each time try to get a little bit more range of motion. 2 more. A little tension, the heel's heavy. Fight that knee up into the fist, all the way down. Once more here. Good tension. Really driving all the way down and relax. Okay, side 2. So let's bring that knee all the way up. Drive the heel, little tension through the fist. You're fighting the knee into that fist the whole time, but you're letting the fist win as you're rotating all the way down. Reset. Good tension. Driving that fist down, fighting it up. Perfect. 3 more here. Tension through the fist. Heel nice and heavy. Good. Yep, make sure you're breathing through all these. Little tension. Really driving that knee into the hand. Feel the contraction through that whole inner thigh. Let the whole hip rotate down. 1 more here. Good tension. Fight it up all the way down. Nice. Okay, we're done with our bear sit. So now we're gonna transition to 90-90. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to get there. You can start with whichever leg you want. We're gonna do both back and forward. So this is 90-90 here. Since we're gonna be focusing on the back leg first, the front leg can just be kind of wherever. Now, if you're unable to comfortably sit up here, grab a block and sit up on it, especially if you have little tight groins like myself. So we're gonna be right here. So I can comfortably sit up. You should feel a nice little stretch in the outside of this hip. Now this hip is in internal rotation, and this is where we're gonna focus right now, okay? So we're gonna start first with some rotational scans. So get into a good position where you're nice and upright. Give yourself a big hug. Now we're gonna do a very light pales contraction through this whole time. So what that's gonna be is the knee and ankle are slightly driving down into the ground, and you're thinking like you're pulling the ground towards your midline, okay? So very light, drive that knee and ankle right now. So you should feel a nice contraction through the groin. Keep that tension, and we're gonna slowly rotate the upper body towards the back foot just as much as you can. As you're still driving down, rotate away from that back foot. 2 more like that. Driving that knee and ankle nice and heavy. Rotate as much as you can towards the back foot. And then let's rotate right away. One more here. Each time, trying to get a little bit more range of motion. So this is the biggest rotation of the day, towards the back foot. And then away. Perfect. Okay, now if you can't access the ground, feel free to grab your other blocks to give yourself a little tension here as we do our pails and rails. So pails, what we were just doing, knee and ankle down into the ground. Ideally, you want a little bit more tension through the ankle. So you're trying to rotate that foot into the ground for pails. Rails, you're trying to rotate that foot off the ground without flexing your lower leg. So if I was to hinge forward and try to rotate, see the foot actually comes off the ground, but because I'm upright, when I try to do that, it doesn't. Okay, so that's our pails and rails. So same tension, about 50% max effort on the first one, 75% on the second one. Okay, so here we go. So let's take a big breath in, brace the core, and let's slowly start to rotate that ankle down into the ground, nice and light. We'll call it 20% max effort. With the next breath, double that tension, 40%. You want the hands also driving down at the same amount. Let's see if we can push a little bit harder, 50%, and hold that tension. So now you should have a nice contraction through the inner thigh. The knee and the ankle are super heavy, hands pushing into the ground, keeping the core tight for 10 seconds. Keep rotating, keep breathing. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Now rails, if you want to hinge back a little bit, this is just going to pull you into a little bit more of your in range. So 3, 2, 1. Now you're trying to rotate that foot off the ground. So if you want to think like the front knee is nice and heavy, you're trying to rotate that whole hip forward. It should feel a little crampy, but you're thinking light on the back foot now. Keep that tension. Breathe. We have 10 seconds here. Keep rotating. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, let's take a couple recovery breaths. Try to relax more into that in range. And then we got one more. We're going to push a bit harder, and then we'll get a little active before we switch our focus to the front leg. Okay, so here we go. So with our next breath, let's inhale, trap that air in the belly, and let's slowly again start to rotate that whole hip down in the ground. Nice and light right now, 20% max effort. Let's double how hard we're driving, 40. Remember, you want the hands, everything driving at the same amount, 60% max effort. See if you can push a bit harder, 70, and hold. We have 15 seconds. Breathe and keep that tension. Last 10, keep pushing. Feel that contraction through the groin for 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, right to rails. If you want to hinge back a little bit, let's go 3, 2, 1. Now you're trying to rotate that back foot off the ground. So the front knee's heavy. Thinking light on the back foot. Trying to rotate that whole hip forward. Should feel very crampy yet again. Keep rotating. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, so now if you want to grab your band, we're going to get a little active now. We're going to have 5 passive range holds and then 5 active liftoffs. Okay? So you're going to want to hinge forward as much as you need to give yourself a little space to actually lift that foot up, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna relax the back foot. You're gonna pull that foot up as much as it'll go, okay? Now from here, you're gonna think rails contraction. So you're gonna ramp, 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 good tension through the whole body. Try to pull the foot away from the band. Keep the tension, let the band loose, hold that foot up, and slowly control it down. Okay, we have 4 more like that. Relax, pull that foot up as much as it'll go. Brace the core, drive the knee super heavy into the ground, ramp the foot away from the band, hold the tension, let the band go, slowly control the foot down. 3 more like that. Very important to control that eccentric down on each rep. So relax. Okay, ramp, ramp, pull the foot away from the band, let the band loose, hold that foot up, control it down, nice and slow. 2 more here. Really keep the core tight so nothing's bleeding to your low back. Okay, relax, pull that foot up. Okay, ramp, ramp, let that band loose, hold that foot up there, control it down. So again, you're not trying to flex this. 1 more. Relax, pull that foot up. Okay, brace the core, drive that foot away from the band, let the band loose, hold, and control it down. Perfect. Okay, you can drop the band. Now we have active liftoffs. This is our last thing before we flip to the front leg. Okay, so stay in the in range. Again, before each rep, brace the core, drive the hands, keep that tension, rotate till the foot barely comes off the ground, and relax. It's going super duper high. You might want to come up more. You ideally just want it to be able to lift about maybe a ½ inch off the ground. Okay, so 4 more like that. Good tension, rotate, lift, relax. Last 3, brace the core, rotate, lift, relax. Last 2, straight up, rotate, lift, relax. Last one here, brace the core, drive, lift, and relax. Whew. Okay, internal done. Let's switch to that external rotation. So if you're on a block, you may want to drop it. And now the back leg, we're not focusing on it, so it can just kind of be wherever. Front leg, 90 degrees. Okay, so it's gonna be very similar workflow here. So now to find our in range, you're gonna start upright, and we're gonna hinge forward until you get a stretch in the outside of your glute. Okay, so you don't wanna just be like folding over like this. Keep the chest big, hinge. Once you feel that stretch, that's your in range. Okay, so we're gonna start with a light pales contraction. So you wanna think the knee and ankle are nice and heavy into the ground. You're slightly pushing the ground away till you feel a light contraction. Keep the tension. And now we're gonna rotate towards the front foot, just the upper body, and then away from the front foot. And this whole time you're slightly driving that knee and ankle down. Let's go towards that front foot. And then right away. One more each, towards the front foot. And right away. Perfect. Okay, 2 sets, pails and rails. Again, 50% max effort on the first one. Pails, knee and ankle driving down, pushing the ground away from you. Rails, you're trying to scoop this foot up off the ground. So if I was to get back into my in range here, you'd actually be able to lift, but because I'm upright, I can't, okay? All right, so here we go. Get into your in range. Let's take a big breath in. Trap that air in your belly, and let's slowly start to get that knee and ankle nice and heavy into the ground at 20% max effort, so nice and light. Let's double that tension. 40. Whole body's driving. See if you can push a little bit harder. 50. Hold. So you should feel a nice contraction through that glute, outside of the hip. Just breathe and drive. 10 seconds. Keep that tension on this pails. We got 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, now if you want a little feedback, this always helps on any rails contraction. So I'm gonna try to scoop my foot up into my hand. So stay in that hinge, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now scoop that hand, the foot up into the hand and hold. So we're trying to get a nice contraction through the inner thigh. You might also feel it in the outside of the glute, which is just fine. Just breathe and drive. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax, stay in that hinge. Take a couple recovery breaths. So one thing that's pretty common in this position is if the knee is up off the ground, that's just fine. But if you are having trouble feeling your pails and rails, then just take a block and you can set it there so you can have a good connection. And that's just if your knee is like up like this, if you're in this position. Okay, so let's get our second set. Then we're gonna do a little active work and then we'll transition. So big breath in. Trap that air in the belly, and let's slowly start to drive that ankle, knee down into the ground, slightly pushing the ground away, lightly at 20%. Double that tension, 40. Your whole bodies keep pushing harder, we'll say 60%. Ramp a little harder, 70, and hold. So the whole body's driving into the ground, keeping that intention on the outside of the glute. Keep breathing, keep pushing. We got 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, right to that rails. A little feedback if you need to. So 3, 2, 1. I'll try to scoop that foot off the ground into the hand and hold. Really staying in that in range. Try to get that contraction on the outside of the glutes, inside of the thighs. Keep pulling for 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly relax. Okay, so now we're gonna do a set of 5 eccentrics and then 1 set of 5 liftoffs. Then we'll transition to the other side. Okay, so if you wanna start upright, what this is gonna look like is you're gonna think rails contraction. So from here, try to scoop that foot off the ground, get the contraction, keep that contraction, and slowly hinge as much as you can. You're trying to pull that foot up the whole time. Once you can't anymore, relax, boost yourself back up to the top. Okay, rails, try to scoop the foot up. Keep the tension, hinge, hinge, all the way down. Relax, push yourself back up. 3 more like that. Just try to scoop the foot up off the ground. And each time trying to hinge a little bit deeper. Keep trying to drive that foot off the ground the whole time. Relax. 2 more here. Scoop, scoop. Keep the tension. Hinge, hinge, relax, push yourself back up. Last one here, scoop, scoop, Keep that tension, hinge all the way back down. Perfect. Okay, lift-offs. So you have a couple options here. Now, if you can lift from here, I can't, that's good. First is the elbow. So you want to get to a spot where you can barely lift it up. Okay, I'll be here. If you still can't lift from there, extend the arm out here. You also have the option to go all the way down, and you can even post the leg up, and that will make it a bit easier. Okay, so you want to ideally get to a spot where you're just able to lift that foot up, again, about a ½ an inch to an inch. Ideally, keeping the outside of the leg on the ground. If you're at a spot where it's not, then just scoop that leg down more. And again, if you post the leg up, that will give you quite a bit more space. Okay, so find your area. And we got 5 liftoffs. Okay, so ramp good tension, brace the core. The other leg is also driving into the ground. Scoop and relax. Good tension. Think like you're sliding down, scooping up. Relax. So ideally, you should feel the inner thigh muscles. Some people might also feel the outside. 3 more. Scoop. Relax. Last 2. Good tension. Scoop. Relax. Last one here. Straight up. Scoop. And relax. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to transition to the other side. So you see we're already here in 90-90. So let's slowly start to drive this knee up just as much as you can. This doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to slowly transition. Keep the hands on the ground. So 90-90 hip switch. And then we get to our second side. Okay, so again, we're going to start with the back leg. If you can't sit up comfortably without the hand, grab a block. Sit up on it. And you'll see one side might be different than the other, which is just fine. So you just have to play around with this a little bit in the coming weeks to find a good position. But hopefully this should get more comfortable the more you do this. Okay, so we'll start with our rotational scan. Big hug here. Remember the knee and ankle is slightly driving down the whole time. We'll call that 20% of your max effort. So drive that knee and ankle. Think like you're pulling it towards your midline. Keep the tension, and we're gonna slowly rotate towards the back foot. And then slowly rotate away. Good. 2 more here. Keep that tension. Each time we're trying to rotate a little bit more towards the back foot. And then away from the back foot. 1 more each. Biggest rotation here. Keep that tension down towards the back foot. And then right away. Perfect. Okay. So again, let me grab these blocks so I have it. And this is just if you can't access the ground that well, because you really want tension through your whole body as we're doing our isometrics. So 2 sets here, pails and rails. Pails, when we're driving that ankle down, heavy into the ground. Rails, we're trying to rotate that foot up off the ground using the hip. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a big breath in. Trap that air in the belly, and we'll slowly start to rotate that ankle down into the ground, 20%, so it's nice and light. Double how hard you're pushing right now, 40%. The knee is also a bit heavy. See if you can push this a little bit harder, 50, and hold. So good tension. Hands are driving into the ground. Front leg slightly drive in, but all the intentions in this inner thigh hip. Give me 10 seconds. Keep rotating. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Now for rails, if you just want to hinge back just a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Now you're trying to rotate that foot up off the ground. Whole quads coming forward. That front knee's really heavy. So we're thinking light on the foot, just enough to feel that contraction in the outside of the hip. Doing your best not to flex your lower leg. Give me 10 seconds. Keep rotating. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, a couple recovery breaths here. And then we got one more, about 70, 75% max effort. And then we'll get a little active. All right, so here we go. Big breath in, trap that air in the belly, and let's slowly again start to rotate that ankle down into the ground, 20%. Let's double that tension, 40. Your whole body's ramping now, harder, 60. See if you can push a bit harder, 70, and hold. So you got a good contraction through that inner thigh. Knee, ankle, super heavy. Keep driving, keep rotating. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly relax. Okay, right to rails. A little hinge back here. 3, 2, 1. Now think like you're trying to rotate that foot off the ground. Hips coming all the way forward. Front knees very heavy. Breathe. Keep that tension. Do your best not to cramp here. Keep rotating. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly relax. Sheesh. Okay, let's grab that band. We got our passive range holds. So you're gonna loop that around that foot. So we're on this one, you're gonna hinge forward. So you're gonna give yourself a little space to actually lift that foot up off the ground. Okay. So it's very important again, keep that core nice and tight so nothing's bleeding to the low back. So let's relax that back foot, pull it up as much as you can. Let's take a big breath. You're gonna ramp, think rails contraction. So you're trying to pull the foot away from the band. Keep the tension as you let the band loose. Hold the foot up there best as you can and slowly control the foot down. 4 more like that, relax. Okay, ramp tension, good tension through the whole body. Pull the foot away from the band. Let the band loose, hold the foot up there as best as you can. Slowly control it down. 3 more. Relax. Pull that foot up. Okay, brace the core, ramp tension, pull the foot away from the band, keep that band, or let the band loose, hold that foot up there, control it down, nice and slow. 2 more. Okay, relax, pull that up. Okay, tension, tension. Pull the foot away from the band, let the band loose, hold. Control it down, nice and slow. Last one. Okay, relax, pull the foot up. Good tension here. Okay, here we go, ramp, ramp. Pull the foot away from the band, let the band loose. Hold and control down. Perfect. Okay, you can take that away. Whoops. Okay, stay in that hinge position. Now you should be able to lift a little bit. So again, ramp tension, brace the core, drive the hands, keep that lower leg soft, rotate, lift, and relax. So again, it should be just coming off about a 1/2 inch to an inch. Good tension. Rotate, lift, relax. If it's not, the more upright you are, the less you should be able to lift. Okay, 3 more. Tension, rotate, relax. Last 2. Brace the core, drive, lift, relax. Last one here. Good tension, rotate, lift, and relax. Nice. Okay, home stretch here. So we're gonna transition to the front leg. So if you're on that block, let it go. Now, since we're focusing on the front, the back leg can just be chilling. So if you need to bring the knee up, wherever it's at, 90 degrees in the front. Okay, let's find our in range. So you're gonna be nice and upright. Hinge forward until you get a good stretch in the outside of that glute. Okay, keep that tension or keep that in range. Now we're gonna do a light pales contraction, ankle, knee, slightly down, pushing the ground away. We'll call it 20% max effort, so just enough to feel the contraction. Hold that, and let's start to rotate towards the front foot. And then let's rotate away from the front foot. And again, each time trying to get a little bit more range of motion here. So we're just feeling that tissue change as we're rotating towards the front foot. And then right away. Good. One more each. Still driving that knee and ankle nice and heavy into the ground towards the front foot. And away. Perfect. Okay, meet me back in the middle. Let's get our pails and rails in. So pails, we were just doing knee and ankle down, pushing the ground away. Rails, trying to scoop that foot off the ground, ideally keeping that outer leg on the ground. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a big breath. Trap that air in the belly, and we'll slowly start to drive that knee and ankle down, pushing the ground away, 20% max effort. Let's double that tension, 40. Just push a tiny bit harder, 50, and hold. So again, your whole body is slightly ramped here, but the intention staying on the outside of the glute. Knee and ankles down, pushing the ground away. Keep breathing, keep driving. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, right to rails. You need a little feedback. Try to scoop up into the hand. So 3, 2, 1, rails. Now we're thinking light on the foot, trying to really drive the ankle up into that top hand. Looking for a nice contraction on the inside of your groin. Some of you may feel it on the outside of the glute as well, which is just fine. But just breathe, keep that tension best you can. Breathe, keep scooping. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, a couple recovery breaths here. Then we got one more, about 70, 75% of our max effort. Then we'll get a little active. Okay, here we go. So with that next breath, inhale, trap that air in the belly, and let's slowly start to drive that knee and ankle down, pushing the ground away, 20% max effort. Double that up, 40. Whole body's ramping, pushing harder at 60% max effort. A little bit harder, 70, and hold. So the whole body's super tight. Good contraction through that glute. 10 seconds, keep pushing, don't lose that tension. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. Okay, right to rails. So let's go 3, 2, 1. I'll try to scoop that foot up into that top hand. Breathe and hold that tension. Whole body's again nice and tight. Keep scooping. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly relax. Nice. Okay, eccentrics, then liftoffs. So we're starting upright, thinking rails. So you're trying to drive, scoop that foot off the ground. So let's initiate that. So scoop, feel the tension here, keep that. As we hinge forward, you're trying to drive that leg up off the ground the whole time. Relax when you get to the bottom, boost yourself back up. 4 more, scoop, try to lift that leg up off the ground. Hinge, hinge, keep the tension the whole time. Relax, push yourself back up. Last 3, we're trying to get a little deeper with every rep here. So driving that foot up, hinge, hinge, relax. Last 2, scoop that foot off the ground, keep the tension, hinge, hinge, relax. Perfect. Last 1, here we go. Scoop. Drive, biggest hinge of the day. Keep trying to pull that leg closer to your chest. Relax. Okay, now we'll get into our position for liftoffs. So again, it might be different than the other side, which is just fine. It's something you have to experiment with. If you're at a good spot here and just the elbow, perfect. If you have to post the leg up, good. And the further down you get, the easier it's gonna be to get there. Okay, so here we go. Find your good position, ramp the tension, brace the core, rotate, lift, relax. Good tension, scoop, lift, relax. 3 more here, brace, scoop, relax. Last 2, good tension, scoop, relax. Last 1 here, brace, lift, and relax. Nice. Okay, we're just gonna end with some cars, and that's a wrap. So we'll do the same ones that we started with. So if you wanna grab your block for a pillow, you should feel a little different on these ones, nice and loose. So let's pull with the bottom hand, punch with the top, squeeze that ball behind the knee, and let's slowly start to come up, back. Good, rotate. Nice. This might feel a little weird because you got a little bit more range of motion now through those hips. But again, we're reaching for our max, safest range of motion here. 2 more. Back, rotate. Nice. Straight back up. Rotate. Good, last 1 here. Perfect. Straight back up. And nice. Cool, we'll switch. Okay, so pulling with the bottom, punching with the top, squeeze that ball. And we'll slowly come up. Whole leg back. Good, let the knee drop as we rotate. Straight back up. Rotate all the way back through. Good. 2 more here. Up, back. Rotate again. We're really reaching for that max safest range of motion here, which should feel a good amount different than those first warm-up cars that we did. Last one. Perfect. Rotate. Straight back up. And rotate all the way back through. Nice. Good work, y'all. That's a wrap.